thank you for joining us today. My name is Cesar Costa. I'm from Uruit. Today we are going to have our second webinar of the year. So thanks once again for being here with us. In case this is the first time you hear about Uruit, we're a software development studio that helps companies create products that people love. We've been 14 years in the market. We have delivery centers in Uruguay and Colombia and South America, and a commercial office in Los Angeles, California. Our main offering revolves towards product strategy from very early stages, where we assist different clients, big and small, throughout different industries to create products that actually are impactful and loved by people around the globe. We can help from those very early stages with product strategy, design and development throughout growth and optimization as well. So the reason why we're here today isn't about Uruit. It's a webinar that allows our clients to talk about their experience in the product-led environment. And in this case, we have Branch. It's a company that is reshaping the way in which home and car insurances are purchased, one state at a time. Today, we have Ivan Herndon with us. He's the director of development at Branch. He has led teams and provided technical leadership at startups in various stages, as well as Fortune 500 companies. He's also taught full stack development to many new developers coming into the field in non-traditional ways. He will be sharing 3 challenges and key decisions for their digital product success. At the end, we'll have a Q&A section. You can ask questions anytime during the presentation, and Ivan will answer them in the last 10 minutes of today's session. Ivan, I wanted to thank you once again for being here with us and for sharing your experience and your knowledge. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Cesar. Again, hi, everyone. My name is Ivan Herndon. I'm the director of development at Branch. And just to give you a little bit more information about Branch. So Branch is a 5-star rated home and auto insurance that's simple to buy, and we're built for savings. Branch was designed from the ground up to make insurance less expensive and more delightful for everyone. So we're structured as a reciprocal insurance exchange. And this lets us pass savings along to customers in ways other insurance companies can't. We have an instant buying process, so this eliminates the friction to get covered, making it more simple to join and save. And we have a collection of community programs that are engineered to help customers save more and save more as we grow. So we are, of course, now talking about 3 different challenges and decisions that we've made for our digital product success. And now that you know a little bit more about Branch, I'll talk about our instant buying process. And what that does is it essentially will let a user come into our platform, enter just 2 pieces of information, and they can get an offer that is bindable. And what that means is that in insurance, a lot of times when you get quotes, you'll get a quote, you might have to call in to customer service, and usually the price is different by the time you sign your agreement. With us, the offer that you get after you enter those 2 pieces of information is one that you can sign up with or bind right away. And once we had this process figured out, we had a problem of how do we present this information to customers in a meaningful way? How do we present it in a way where we have more customers more likely to convert? So essentially, with all of the challenges we're talking about today, they stem from a need for conversion, right? Or improving conversion. So the problem that we have that we were solving for is how do we present the customer's offer information in a meaningful way? How do we make the selection process easy and understandable? How do we display value in all of our offers? And we still need to allow for customization. So we want to be able to show the customers a price, but allow them to add customization and make changes. So our solution for this is we wanted to make sure we were able to give enough variety that appeals to the highest amount of users. We needed a solution that would show available policy options. So we have home, auto, bundle home and auto at the time. We want to show 3 plan options that have varying levels of coverage. And we also want to make sure we default to a standard plan that's based on the coverage the user currently has. So the power in doing this is once we know the user's current insurance coverage, we can create a plan that is comparable in the amount of coverage, and they can be able to see the savings and really be able to compare apples to apples. And because we want to bundle as many users as possible, if a user hadn't selected a bundle option, we want to make sure that they see the bundles and see the savings there. Now, when we came up with this solution and what we actually went with being what we call the plan picker, we did user testing, in-person user testing in Ohio where we're based. And before we finalized, after all the user testing on the solution, you can see here on the left that we do have our different bundles. We do see the savings that a customer can have if they bundle versus just going with auto or just going with homeowners. But other than that, it doesn't really present a lot of useful information. It's not really easy to see and know how you can customize your offer. You also don't get the different options, as far as pricing options. So the solution that we landed on, if you look to the right, again, is a plan picker. And what we can see here is you can pick whatever policy that you want, home only, home and auto, or auto only. And from there, you'll have 3 different plans that you can choose from. The standard plan, again, is going to be most comparable to current coverage, but you also have an economy plan that has less coverage and more savings, and a premium option if you wanted to have more coverage. Also, when you look at the top here, it's also clear where you can see what's covered and you can see your options to customize. So if you need to add drivers, add cars, update information about your home, you can do all that customization here and get an updated price. So we found that, this was the best way to present all the information that we wanted to our users and also allow for customization so that they can get the price and the coverage that's right for them. Now, moving on to another challenge that we've had, again, based on conversion, is we had a challenge with converting our mobile customers. So our problem was that more than 80% of our traffic is mobile, but our mobile traffic only accounted for less than 50% of all of our quotes. So what that means essentially is that even though more than 80% of our traffic came to our site, there weren't many of them that were actually filling out the information in our form to go through with getting an offer. Another thing is our mobile landing page time was slow. So our loading time was slow. And if you can look, and this is the version of our mobile landing page that we had at first, you can also see our brand identity and our benefit statement is almost non-existent. So you can see we do have our branch logo here in the top left corner, but it doesn't mention branch at all here. It also just says 2 questions to instant pricing, but we don't have a lot of information on what is the pricing for, right? So again, going through user tests, we found that these were some of the big standout things that made people not follow through and fill out the information that we had in our form. So we needed a solution that would address this and fix these issues. So our solution became that we wanted to create a separate landing page experience for desktop and a separate one for mobile. For our mobile landing page, we wanted to make sure that branch's brand is clear. We want to make sure also that our benefit statement is clear. And we wanted to make sure that the user being able to call to get a price was a prevalent option. So if you can see our desktop version of our landing page, while it hadn't changed much from how it was before, if we look at our mobile landing page now, you can see quite a bit of difference, right? One of the things that we did that was very helpful in increasing the loading time for our mobile landing page and just making sure we have enough space to make our benefits statement clear before the flow was getting rid of the form. And being able to do this differently on mobile helped out a lot. One, it makes we don't have to load all of those components that are needed and all of the CSS and the styling for the form. The other thing is now we're able to present more information about branch. So now clearly you can see that you know what branch is. We have our name here. You know that you've landed on an insurance site. And you might be thinking that, of course, people would know that they came to ourbranch.com, which is an insurance site, but we do get a lot of traffic from partners, and they might land on a page and not really understand what company page they are on or what the benefit is to them. And then again, because it's on mobile, we make sure that we are giving them an option to just call in and get a price. So of course, if you click through the Get My Price button, what you'll still find is that you'll have the form pop up where you can enter your information. But if you just want to call, especially because it's easy because you're on your mobile device already, you can just call through to get a price. And so the result of this is that we saw our mobile conversion increase. And while we were running, we do most of our big features like this through an A/B test. And while we were running the A/B test, we initially thought that the new mobile landing was not converting as well as desktop, but we were actually looking at both of those variants in the wrong way. So after we made this change, mobile started to convert better than desktop. And especially that's important because that's where most of our traffic comes from. Now, most recently, we've had, again, another challenge centered around conversion. We're always looking at how can we improve our conversion? How can we improve our growth? And we had, in addition to the plan picker, we had the guided buying flow. Now, the problem that our guided buying flow was set to solve initially was that users would see a price that they would think is too high. So even though we allow for customization with the plan picker, we designed a system that would help users check off a few key pieces of information. So essentially, we would guide the user through, and I'll show you shots of this in just a little bit, but we would guide users through making sure their roof year was accurate, making sure they had the right drivers, making sure they had the right amount of cars in the information that we had when we were getting a price for them. And in initial user testing, it performed better than our normal flow. But our A/B test showed that it performed worse than the alternative we had, which was going straight to the price. So even though in this case, we had something that we tested in user testing, our A/B test showed that this actually was not performing as well as just showing the user the price. So the solution that we had to come up with here was essentially we needed to design a new flow, allow users to enter that flow on the quote details. So essentially, after they enter their information, they're going to see the details of their quote or their offer. And we also still want to make sure that it's clear that users are allowed to confirm or change details, characteristics of their offer. Now, just there's a few screens here, so it's not quite a side by side, but just to show you the difference between V1 and or the guided buying flow, I should say, and our newly designed flow that we just recently launched a couple of weeks ago. This here is the guided buying flow. So a user would select, again, what policy option that they want. So you can see a difference here from our initial plan picker that we also have renters and auto as an option. And then we guide them through confirming or customizing information about their plan. So the next step would be tell us about your roof year, your construction of the home, your home quality, right? So if any of the information we pulled the user didn't agree with or was just inaccurate, they could update. Also, again, we would have them confirm or change any information that they have about drivers or their car. So let's say we pulled information. Let's say we were pulling information on them and we put these cars, and one of the cars isn't one that they have anymore. So maybe they only want to insure 2 cars and not 3. They could remove the car here and continue on, and then they would see their price. And we saw that this wasn't performing, again, as well as people entering their information and just seeing the price, even if they felt that that price was a little high to start. So what we did was through user acceptance testing, through design, and being able to utilize the information from the A/B test, we designed a new flow that really combined the best of both worlds. So we still start off, of course, where you pick what policy is best for you after you answer those 2 questions so we can get an instant bind for you. But then we go straight to the quote details page. So in the next step, you will see that it tells you about your home, drivers, and cars. And it just gives you an opportunity that if you do want to change any information here, you can, but you don't have to go through multiple screens to get to your price. From here, you'll get to the page about your policy. So now, if there's anything about your policy you want to change, you can change it here right on this page, and you can see the price update as you make customizations. So this was a lot later in the flow. After you see your price for the first time, you could go review your policy and customize it. Before, now it's essentially the second step after you enter your information. You'll see your price, you can update your policy and make changes. And then the last step before you check out and before you bind with us would be just to review everything that you updated, but still being able to clearly see your price and your selections here. So even going through, rather quickly, these 3 challenges that we've had, again, they all tie back into our conversion. And that's something that we're always optimizing for at Branch. And in order to do that, we've do a few different types of testing and ways to get feedback. And I've talked about it, for each one of these, we've done user testing on each one of the challenges before we came to a decision or a change or a new feature that we wanted to implement. We would always test these ideas out internally, have some external testing, and we also do A/B testing. So again, a lot of times when we make changes, we'll put both versions out there and, compare conversions, right? So compare how many people went through with the quotes when it came to our mobile testing. We wanted to actually get people to quote, right? And that's what we were optimizing for there. Here, when we're talking about the guided buy-in flow, these are people who are already quoting but dropping off for whatever reason. So in this case, what we're testing for is, how far along do they get into the flow? And most importantly, we're testing for the checkout or the binds that they have at this point. So, testing is a big part. User testing, A/B testing is a big part of how we make decisions at Branch on the product side or the technical product side. And we're always looking to improve and optimize the way that we make data-driven decisions. So this here is our last checkout, the last page in the flow, right? And here is just you enter your payment details and all of that information here. Again, before in the guided buy-in flow, we gave users too many options. You could enter information up front and then still have to enter information again here. So we moved it all where we just take all the information, the email, the address, their payment options, all here at the end in one place at the checkout screen, and it's, performing better. So yeah, so now I have time for any questions that you all might have.
I gotta tell you, Ivan, it looks very neat. So great job. I would like to start with a question of my own, if I may.
Yeah.
Because you're adding simplicity and you're adding actually savings. So I mean, I'm more than interested to become a customer. Which states do you serve?
Oh, which states do we serve? That's a great question. Let's see. I mean, we're in Ohio. We started in Ohio, Texas, Missouri. We just launched in Oklahoma recently, Colorado. And there's some other states. I can't think of them all, but we are looking to we're aggressively rolling out states this year is our plan. So we're looking to do a few more states essentially every month as we go throughout the year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very simple, very straightforward. So I'm very happy that we're getting to more states down the line. All right.
Yeah,
so
it's an exciting time.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start with the questions that we are receiving so far. This is the first one I have here. What's leading the growth of your company? Do you have a product-led growth strategy?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll answer the second one first. So we do have a product-led growth strategy, but within insurance, it's more of an insurance product-led growth strategy versus technical product growth strategy. So at Branch, we have what's considered the insurance product department that's focused on, making good on the promise that we make to our customers. And then we also have our tech product department. So that's like our engineering organization. The design really kind of falls in there. And what we do is we support insurance product sales marketing with the features and the needs there in our mission to deliver more efficiently made insurance. But really it's a combination of all of those things that is leading the growth of our company. So we have our insurance product, of course, because insurance is more of a commodity than like a software as a service product. But we also have our technical product team that supports in that, and sales and marketing that has to do with our partnerships as well. So all of those things combined and all the interactions that we make together to build these technical products essentially is leading the growth of our company.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Let me see the next one. How do you collect user feedback and how often?
Yeah, so we collect user feedback in a few different ways. So we do user testing, which we talked about when making decisions on how to solution for some of these challenges I talked about today, where we take users through the design and, interactive prototypes and how the flow will work and get feedback from them there. And that's, both internal and external. We also do A/B testing. Again, another thing I talked about, but this is getting feedback, direct feedback from the user on what, essentially what version people prefer, right? So there's a lot of information and data we can get there when we put out two versions of the same thing, and we can see that one is converting at a much higher rate. That is a group of users telling us that this is a better solution. Outside of that, we do use tools that also record sessions. So we can see if, even if a user doesn't contact our support or say there's an issue, we can see if errors are coming up, and we can track how a user maneuvered through our application and got to that error. And that can also provide feedback for us on how to handle any bugs that may come up, or also any confusion that we may see when we look in the session. So, when we're expecting a user to click here for the next step, if they're looking to click in other places, then we know we may have changes to make. So I would say, we collect feedback quite often. When we talk about those automated tools, that's an everyday basis, or, really even drill down to every hour or every minute, right? It's just based on what users we have. And for user testing, we do that when we have kickoffs for new product features that we're looking to roll out or that we need to design for. And then, of course, user acceptance testing. After development is done, we go through and do user acceptance testing as well.
Great. We're receiving many more questions, but I have to pick a couple. And this one is kind of tied to the last one, but this is more towards metrics. Which metrics do you prioritize to make decisions? Are there any specific metrics over there that you prioritize?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, right now, I would definitely say that the metrics that we're looking at is first, like the number of quotes, and then we look at a metric as far as like the cost per quote as well, right? So those are two big ones. And again, just to clarify, a quote is essentially once you come to our web application, you enter those two pieces of information and you want to see the offer. So that's one set. Like, we want to keep that number within a certain range to make sure that it makes economical sense, for us as a company. And then another one is the conversion is very important. So all of these, again, these challenges and solutions kind of focus around conversion, and that is a big one that we look at. So we're looking at, and that's conversion all the way to, becoming a customer with us. So, for me, I think of it in those two categories is, first we have to get the offers in front of people, and then, we want to get them to become members of Branch. And so those two pieces of data are very important as we just look to optimize and improve our product.
Excellent. This one's key to us. Is your product development in-house or outsourced? And why? Maybe we missed the very first seconds of the webinar.
Yeah. So, we have a combination of both. And it's important, like when you're starting a new venture, it's going to be risky, right? Most new ventures fail. And so it's a lot better when you can find an outsourced partner to bring good talent that's able to execute on your initial work, which is what we did at Branch. And it's even better if those developers are able to stay a part of the team as we add developers internally. So we have added internal developers, and we still have outsourced team members from Uruit on our team. So, for us, provided that in general, the working times overlap with our working times, I mean, it works out great. And this can be a nice way to reduce risk overall and have team members that are in different locations. But because we have so many great tools now for remote work, it makes it really easy. So for us, it's been a great way to get really great talent and, really not to just grow our team, but really started our team, and we're growing and adding to our team around the outsourcing that Uruit provides.
Thank you for the kind words over there. I know it's about time. Do you have a time for a last one over here, Ivan?
Yeah, I have time. So it's no problem.
All right, let's shoot the last one. You mentioned you conduct some external testing to optimize your product. Can you go into further detail on how to conduct effective external testing? Maybe that's going to take longer than a minute.
Yeah, maybe so. I think, when doing external testing, I think there's a few key things that you need. I mean, first, you need clearly defined, I don't want to say acceptance criteria, but essentially, similar to the way it was laid out in the presentation, you need to clearly define what you're trying to solve for. I think to have effective testing, you also need to, obviously, you should have more than one version for a solution, right? I have seen before at other companies I've worked for, when they would do user testing, they would, make a best guess at the solution they wanted, essentially test to make sure that the user could do what they were supposed to do with it, and go, all right, I was right. We'll go with that. But you're not really optimizing for anything there. You're just going for what works, and not necessarily looking for what works better. So, you need to have a few, a good hypothesis on what'll work, a few different versions of that, and you need to have a good group of people who can test it. And, for us, it's a combination of internal and external. There are some like very insurance product specific things that we have to test for when we're rolling out new features or new states. But then there are also like user experience things that we can test for. So making sure that you're testing the right things with the right groups is also important.
Awesome. And that, I'll leave it as that. I mean, I know we have more questions. Probably we can answer those offline. Just so everybody knows, this session has been recorded. We're going to share it after we end the webinar. There's also, you're going to see a survey. Please do leave us feedback, because that's going to help us also understand for future instances what you are looking forward to hear from. And thank you once again, Ivan, for your time today. It's been a great pleasure.
Yeah, it was a pleasure for me as well. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much. See you the next time. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today.